What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team career mode. We are here for round 6 of season 4 of our Jaguar Racing career mode, and we're going to be at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola. Last time out we were at the Miami Grand Prix and we picked up 6 points, having finished 7th, and hopefully we will be able to continue our run of point scoring form. We scored in Baku, we scored here, we scored in Miami, and I'm hoping we can score here as well. So yeah, we're going to be in Imola. This is a track that if you have watched me in the past, you will know is not one of my absolute favourites, but is one that I did manage to score points at in previous seasons that it's been on the calendar. It's not my worst track in terms of overall performance. I just find it a little bit awkward with all the chicanes and everything. It's not my sort of ideal circuit to drive around. I prefer sort of ones with more sort of high speed corners. That's my preferred style of track. It's why I like tracks like Silverstone so much. But in any case, this is where we're going to be for this occasion. So yeah, I'm going to be targeting another points finish. Ideally, I'd like to finish at least in the top 5. I mean, obviously, you know, you want to win these races when you're contending for the championship, and we do need to start scoring a lot of points both for the drivers and the constructors championship, as we currently sit 8th in the drivers and 6th in the constructors. There is a decent chunk of work that we've got to do in order to progress up the order in both of those, and hopefully we'll be able to make up some ground in both of those championships in this video. But more than anything, I also need Kevin Magnussen to maybe start delivering a little bit better than he has been recently. He's not been bad by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, if we're going to be contending for at least P3 in the Constructors' Championship for that sponsorship bonus, I'm going to need him to step his game up just a tiny bit. And I think that he should be more than capable of that. So yeah, our pace in practice was actually pretty decent. You know, both of us 8th and 10th, not bad whatsoever. Hopefully we can transfer that into some decent qualifying pace as well. I'm on a bit of a streak of eliminations in Q2. I think now we were eliminated in Q2 in Baku and in Miami. Obviously we came home to finish in the points in both of those races, but I would like to get back into Q3 if I possibly could. Maybe, you know, contend for at least sort of the top 5 in qualifying, if not maybe even higher than that. See if we can get our first pole position of the season. We obviously had the win in Bahrain, but we didn't pick up pole on that occasion, and I think we started close to the front in Australia. We were fighting pretty well in that race, but then we ended up having the mechanical failure, of course. So here we go, we are into qualifying now. We're starting on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we're going to see what kind of time we can do in our first run here in Q1. As we cross the line, it's going to be a 1:13.5, and we're behind one of the Hasses, so Lord knows I'm going to need to improve on that time by a very, very big margin, I would imagine, if I want to be safe. I was in 16th at the end of the session, so that time actually would have just about been good enough to see us through, but I did manage to get a big improvement on it, fortunately. A 1:12.6 as we cross the line, and we'll see what that is good enough for. It was P10 in the end, so we're through to Q2 quite comfortably in the end. And you know, if we can continue that sort of level, then we should get through to Q3 as well. Magnussen there in P11 as well. Sainz topping the session, so a decent performance from him. No real surprises on the elimination front. Tsunoda, Joe, Stroll, Fittipaldi, Lawson and De Vries, all of them in the bottom 3 teams as it's starting to become. I feel like Haas are typically the team that are getting out of Q1. They are slightly ahead of the others, but they're still slightly behind the top 7 teams. So yeah, they're in a bit of a no man's land at the moment, just fighting between themselves over 15th and 16th every race, roughly. It feels like definitely not really able to get some points, or that it did score points in one race, I think, as we get blocked by Logan Sargent on our banker run in Q2. But you know, fortunately this run I'm not really that attached to it, because we're going to be going again on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. This was obviously on a used set, so yeah, we will be doing another run on that fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we're going to need improvement. You can see that because we are currently in 14th. Looks like Magnussen is definitely going to be out of the session because I think he's already crossed the line, so it's going to be probably 13th or 14th for him, depending on how far we improve. We are currently improving by a reasonable amount as we come around the final corner. We overcome that deficit that we lost to Logan Sargent, and it is 1:12.4 as we cross the line, which is good enough for P10 once again. So we make it through to Q3 by the skin of our teeth there, really, it seems. What was the margin in the end? Yes, we were 0.02 of a second faster than Pourchaire there. So if we'd have gone marginally slower, we would have been out and Pourchaire would have been through instead. But as it stands, we have made it through. Pourchaire, of course, is eliminated as well, alongside my former teammate Hauger, Perez, Magnussen, my current teammate, and Hulkenberg and Sargent in the Hasses, perhaps unsurprisingly. Only 1 second between the fastest car there and Kevin Magnussen in the Jaguar. So yeah, top 14 separated by 1 second. Pretty pretty small margins, but I guess that's kind of how it goes in the top 7 teams now. They're all sort of equal levels of performance. It's to be expected. Here we are now in Q3. Hopefully we will finish better than 10th, but we've not shown any signs we're going to do that so far, so we'll see. As we cross the line, there's a 1:12.3, and that was on a used set of tyres. That was our fastest run of the weekend so far, and that was on a used set of tyres. It's good enough for P3 at the time being, but obviously I'm going to be going on to a set of fresh soft compound tyres and seeing if I can get a bit more improvement. As we come into the final sector, we're about a 10th up on where we were. I'm going to see if I can get a bit of improvement, but honestly, this has been it's been a pretty solid, a run that we did on the used set of soft compound tyres, so I think the amount of performance gain is going to be minimal here. We improved by about a 10.5 to a 1:12.1, and that is good enough for P4. There was definitely more time in that lap, I think, but I'm nonetheless reasonably happy with that.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3: Norris, Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Yep, so Norris and Piastri and Verstappen making up the top 3 on that occasion. I think I might have been able to get ahead of Verstappen there if I'd have really, really tried for it. But yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to catch Norris and Piastri, the top 2. They just seemed a bit too fast on this occasion. I don't know if I was going to be able to break into the 111s or not. I think it would have been very marginal if I was. And yeah, P4, not a bad position to start. Hopefully we can do what we usually do and make up a few positions on the start. Although that said, it is actually quite a long run down to turn 1, and I prefer tracks with a short run. That's where I usually make up the most positions into the first corner. So maybe we won't make up that many positions on this occasion, but all will be revealed, and we will see what we can do as we get into the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.
This place has gone by many titles: the Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and now it's the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Welcome to Grand Prix Sunday. A lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula 1 circuits, will take our drivers round 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he will start from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Robinson, Leclerc, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly, Théo Pourchaire, Hauger, Perez, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Tsunoda, Zhou, Albon, Stroll, Fittipaldi, Russell, Liam Lawson, and Nick de Vries rounds off the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. We welcome once again to the commentary box Anthony Davidson. And how do you mentally prepare yourself for the rush of the opening lap?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Well, I'm going to be looking for much more than a top 10 finish here today. I realistically think I want a podium here if we're going to be getting ourselves back into the championship fight, especially with Max Verstappen starting in the top 3 as well. We are going to need to have a solid performance here. We can't afford to go backwards we need to go forwards and we need to stay there if we possibly can. It's going to take a fair amount of luck here, I think, as well as some solid driving. And unfortunately, I think this is going to be another one of those tracks where my qualifying pace exceeds my race pace a little bit. So I think we're going to have to try and do a big defense. And with this big long straight here, I don't think that that's going to be as easy as it is to say. So yeah, we will see whether we are capable of holding on to a podium position here as we get ready for the lights to come on. And the lights go out, and we've had a much better start than Max Verstappen, certainly. But Norris and Piastri there, I think, have had pretty good starts too. So, yeah, we're going to be not able to get ahead of them unless we can go around the outside of Norris here into turn 1. And yes, he gets pinched to the inside, and that allows us to sail through and in to P2. Leclerc all the way up to P3 already. Verstappen down to P5. He's had a shocking start here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And to be fair, Norris from P1 to P4, he's had an even worse start. Piastri is the biggest winner as he currently leads the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. He's over a second ahead of me. So if we want to fight him back, we're going to need to close the gap. Leclerc was thinking about going for a move into this fast left-hander, but he thought against it. And yeah, we are going to be able to hold on to P2 for the time being as we make our way into the final sector of the first lap now. And Piastri starting to pull away a bit more and a bit more. And well, I don't know whether we're going to be able to catch up with him or not. He might just have the pace on us on this occasion. As you know, I definitely seem to be lacking in the race pace department compared to some of the other AI in this game. Leclerc has fallen away a little bit, 1.6 seconds. I don't know if that was a consequence of him trying to go for a move on me and then finding he didn't really have the space to do it. But in any case, I'm in a bit of a no man's land now. Hopefully we can just break away, maybe try and keep up with Piastri. We're 1.1 seconds down on him, so if we can close just a couple tenths to him, then potentially we could be getting in the DRS range and hopefully having a bit of a go at him. But as we make our way onto lap 5, end of lap 5, starting lap 6 now, nothing had really happened up to this point, you know. It was quite a quiet start to the race for us. Piastri has now pulled away from us quite significantly, 2.4 seconds the gap. Leclerc has fallen all the way down to P6 behind his teammate Carlos Sainz, and Lando Norris is the one who finds himself in P3 now as we get one track limits warning there. Need to be careful not to get too many more, or will be a penalty coming our way, of course. And yeah, you can see that maybe on lap 6 I'm starting to overheat the tyres a little bit here, because Norris has caught me up by about a second on that lap, and he's come within my DRS range. So I would not be surprised if within a short amount of time we start to come under a bit of pressure from him, and yeah, we're fighting him for P2 and desperately trying to hold on to it. Verstappen's still a couple seconds down on us, but he's catching us as well. Like I said, I think I'm overheating the tyres. I think that's the problem at the moment, because it just seems like I just don't have the pace compared to these guys. So yeah, we'll see if we can defend. Lando Norris super close now, 2 tenths down on us, and I've not had a great run through that chicane, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we have to absorb a bit of pressure from him as we come on the run down to the Ravazzas. He's going to try on the outside. We're going to be wheel to wheel, and I brake as late as I can brake, really, and yeah, Norris just manages to go around the outside, and he is up into P2, and that is us pushed down into P3. But we're still on the podium, and hopefully we can hold on to this podium position. If we can stay in the DRS range of Norris, maybe we can even try and get back ahead of him, who knows. But certainly he should be able to drag us away from Max Verstappen, I would hope, if we can continue putting in some good laps. But unfortunately, within less than a lap, we find ourselves outside of Norris's DRS range and coming under pressure from Max Verstappen here. We keep in the fight with him into the chicane, and he actually goes off track. And if I hadn't have taken sort of evasive manoeuvres there, I feel like we probably would have ended up in you know, in a bit of a contact situation with Verstappen there. But I wouldn't be surprised now as we come on the run into the end of lap 8 and start lap 9. Verstappen might get ahead of us with the DRS here. You can see that because of that sort of, I don't know what you would call it, fracas maybe with Verstappen, it put me 3 seconds down on Lando Norris, and now Verstappen has managed to overtake us at last, and we are down into P4. And I feel like the misery could be you know, keeping on coming if we're not careful. Sainz now just 2 tenths down on us with the DRS is going to be super trivial for him, and you can see he makes his way through with relative ease. Leclerc is the next car. You know, at one point me and him were battling over P2, and now he's found himself down in P6, and I'm here desperately trying to hold on to it from him. And I think he's going to take advantage of the fact that his teammate has got through as well, exploit a little bit of a gap as I go into the chicane, and that is Leclerc up into P5, and now Gasly's trying to come through as well. I'm not going to give up this position easily to the Frenchman, but I might not have much choice. It seems like I have absolutely no pace around here compared to the AI. At times they're over a second a lap faster than me, and so I've concluded at this point, you know, we're still a few laps away from my pit stop on lap 13, but I've concluded at this point I think the safest thing to do would be to box now and try and go for a little bit of an undercut if I possibly can, and then at least, you know, we might have another chance to defend from some of these guys, from Sainz, from Leclerc, from all of these people, because in the situation we find ourselves in at the moment, we are just going to keep going backwards and backwards and backwards, I worry, and that's the last thing I want. You know, Hauger only 3 seconds down on us as well. Okay, so I make the call, we're going to box this lap, and we're going to be going on a set of hard compound tyres to the end of the race. You know, I don't really know where I stand on hard compound tyres generally. I know that this year, in this year's game, it seems like Arava has a very big, you know, sort of liking of the hard compound tyres. He's always trying to find an excuse to get on them when he can. And I definitely feel like I have less problems with them overheating than with other compounds of tyres. But nonetheless, I don't think that I have quite an affinity with them as some other people do. So hopefully this gamble works out for us. If nothing else, we should be a little bit faster on a lap by lap basis. The problem is that we're going to be significantly faster than the next sort of 6 or 7 cars in front of us, and I wouldn't be surprised if we catch them quite quickly, and that might provide a problem for us, as we're going to have to clear them without getting held up by them too much. First car here, Liam Lawson. We've got to brake past him using the DRS if we can, but he's of course got the DRS to De Vries as well, so he's not making life easy for me. He's going to try and go around the outside, but we keep our tyre in, and that is enough for us to stay ahead of him. And now we are going to try and close down Nick De Vries as quickly as we possibly can as well. The tyres still working nicely for us at the moment. We've only been on them for a couple of laps, of course, and yeah, we're catching him. We're much faster through the corners, you can see there, and we get better traction on the exit of the corners at the moment, which it's not often I get to say that, as we actually bang wheels there. I'm not really sure what De Vries was doing. Surely he knew that you know, I was broken away from him, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. But in any case, we are now going to try and get ahead of my former teammate from Season 1, Enzo Fittipaldi, see if we can get past him nice and quickly as well. We're going to try and dive around the outside of him at the chicane, and yeah, by the time we make it through the chicane, we are comfortably ahead of him. So that's 3 positions we've gained on this lap. Next up is Lance Stroll in the AlphaTauri. He, of course, made the switch from Aston Martin to AlphaTauri at the start of this season. We're going to try and get ahead of him nice and quickly if we possibly can, and we're going to dive around the outside, not only of him, but we're going to try and go around the outside of Sargent as well. Can't quite make it work. Now we are going to try and get the switch back on Sargent, use the traction to our full advantage, but Sargent isn't going to make things easy for us, but we dive up the inside of the fast left-hander, and that is enough for us to make our way through into P17. More cars to clear though. Next up is Joe and Sonoda, the 2 Alfa Romeos, and we will see if we can clear them nice and quickly as we switch to the replay camera here. We're going to have the DRS on, well, it'll be me and Sonoda will have DRS on Joe here, so don't be surprised. We might end up going 3 wide at some point, and I need to make sure I'm in the right position to capitalise on that. And so I think about going to the outside, but then they cover off the outside, so I move to the inside of the corner, and well, 3 into 1 just about goes on this occasion, but you can see how close we're getting. I think we might have made some contact there, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm going to try and go into the inside of the next chicane, back out of this one because I'm not feeling quite as confident, and yeah, we just about managed to muscle our way through past Zhou Guanyu there. Now we're going to try and sweep around the outside of Sonoda as well, and as we make our way through the hairpin, we are through and up into P15 on track, and we're just going to keep climbing up and up the order from here on out. At the end of this lap, you can see that a few cars have already pitted and a few more are going in, Hulkenberg being one of them. We've got Leclerc coming into the pits. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out. And unfortunately, due to the immense amount of battling that I had to do and my inability to overtake in a fast manner, we're actually further behind Charles Leclerc than we were when before I pitted. So that's actually worked out in his favour and not my favour, which is very, very disappointing. Now Carlos Sainz he's coming out of the pits, and you can see that he is comfortably ahead of us as well. Maybe not comfortably, but certainly he's far enough ahead of us that he won't have to worry about us too much. Same with Verstappen as well. Leclerc's made up a few positions here, and well, we're running out of cars to potentially get ahead of. I think we're going to be about 6th or 7th here, which is about where we were on the when we actually came into the pits as well. So yeah, this is particularly disappointing. You can see we have gotten ahead of Pierre Gasly at least, which is something, but we are down in P6. We have not made up any positions on the on that sort of you know, undercut attempt that we went for. So really disappointing. And now I think Pierre Gasly is going to try and go for a move on us, and as he manoeuvres his way through the chicane, I had to kind of cede the position to him, or it was going to be a you know, it was going to be a nightmare for me, probably some contact and that kind of thing. The AI, I mistakenly at one point said that the AI in this game seemed to be a lot less aggressive at Imola than in previous years' games. That has been proven to be false since I said that. So yeah, thank you to the AI in this race for disproving that theory. That was Sonoda that you just watched retiring from the race, if you were curious. He becomes the first retirement from the Grand Prix, but I don't know if he'll be the last or not. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw another one. Here you can see Théo Pourchaire now making his way through, and we've been pushed down to P8, and things are just getting worse and worse for us at the moment. This is really disappointing situation to find ourselves in. You know, I want to try and hold on to as many positions as I can, but it's not going well for us. This is George Russell in the Red Bull. He's battling away with some of the cars behind, including my teammate Kevin Magnussen as part of that train, but George Russell is now out of the race, and he is pulling over to the side of the road, and that will be the end of his Grand Prix. And that was enough to bring out a safety car. So yeah, that is going to be a safety car, which actually might play into our hands a little bit here. Means that we can cool down the tyres a little bit, because I think they were overheating again, and hopefully, you know, be able to attack some of these guys. Now, I actually accidentally overtook Théo Pourchaire there, but for some reason, when I tried to give the position back, it said I didn't need to anymore. So I guess that was a quote-unquote legal overtake, which I think is a bit contentious, but I'm also, if the game is not going to let me give it back, I'm not going to give it back. And yeah, then we get to the end of the safety car period. Only a few more laps left to go. There'll be 3 laps to do once the safety car comes in. That means there'll be 1 lap with DRS, but of course that won't get enabled until basically the final corner of the final lap. So we don't really have to worry about DRS here. Any overtakes we can make will probably be permanent now, and we're going to try and get the jump on Gasly here if we possibly can. We're burning all of our battery. We are sending it down into turn 1, slamming the accelerator and then slamming on the brakes nice and late, and yeah, he tries to go around our outside, but he can't quite do it. We are up into P6. Pourchaire gets through on him as well, so I feel less bad about what I did to Pourchaire, because he's managed to gain a position out of the situation as well. So he's effectively back where he was before the safety car period, and now we are just going to see if we can bring it home to the finish. And as we make our way towards the start of the final lap, you can see that I haven't really been pressured so far. Will Théo Pourchaire put a little bit of pressure on me now? We don't have any DRS. He doesn't either, because he hasn't had a chance to activate it yet. Meanwhile, both of the Ferraris going wheel to wheel in front. They're going to be holding each other up. Is there an opportunity for me to maybe gain even more positions in this final lap as we lap Perez there? I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems to be having an absolute mare. For some reason not retired from this race, but going very slowly across the track. Carlos Sainz, I just wasn't able to quite catch him, unfortunately. I tried my hardest, but I think, you know, the tyre wear, obviously we've been on these tyres a lot longer than anyone else has. It started to kick in a little bit, and just kind of prevented me from being able to catch him. So as we round the final couple of corners, it is going to be the victory for Lando Norris, and we are going to cross the line in P6. And that was a pretty solid race for us, I think.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Yeah, not too disappointed with that. You know, I was hoping we could have done a little bit better, but I don't think P6 is bad. 8 points, and yeah, hopefully will get us back into the championship fight a little bit.
It's a performance that our Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix winners can be justifiably proud of, and I'm sure there'll be celebrations tonight. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Lando Norris picking up his first victory for Mercedes. He'll be very, very happy with that one, I imagine. You know, obviously we've had, I believe, 4 race winners this season now. Myself, Verstappen, Perez, and now Norris as well. And yeah, he is flanked on the podium by the, well, basically just the top 3 in qualifying. It was Norris P1, Piastri P2, and Verstappen P3, which is exactly what it was in qualifying as well. So yeah. The race outcome looks like it might have been a little bit boring, but it was anything but.
So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I think for driver of the day, I'd probably pick Lando Norris. He lived up to every inch of his reputation today, and I think he'll be going home, quite rightly, a bit proud of himself.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. There is also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, we are in danger of being left behind in these championships. We need to start getting better finishes than the ones we've been getting right now. You know, I need to start getting back on the podium, maybe even back to the top step. I need Kevin Magnussen ideally to be getting sort of top 6s, that kind of thing. I think his best result this season was 6th. I can't remember where that was. I think that was in maybe Bahrain or somewhere else. I forget now. But in any case, we need some stronger performances from both myself and K-Mag. You know, I need to be leading by example a little bit. I think off the back of this race, we're going to be losing the rivalry against George Russell, so we will be dropping the difficulty. Although having already recorded the Monaco Grand Prix, I can tell you that I forgot to do that. So I will make a note at some point to drop the difficulty down by 1 off the back of losing that rivalry with George Russell, and then yeah, hopefully maybe we'll be able to compete a little bit more on 98 AI. I can't remember what it was or where it was, but there was a situation where I thought to myself I would have done a lot better if I could have just, you know, had an extra 1/10 of a second or something like that. And yeah, that would have been granted to me if I'd have dropped the difficulty down by 1. So hopefully maybe on 98 AI we'll fare a little bit better than we've been faring on 99. Seems like I've been really struggling at the moment. Next up, of course, is the Monaco Grand Prix, and I won't spoil how that one goes. I did just reveal, of course, that I have already recorded the footage for that one. I'm going to do the voiceover after I do the voiceover for this video. And yeah, that was a fun race to drive. So I definitely would recommend checking that one out. When it comes out, that will be tomorrow, whenever you're watching this one. And yeah, I really need a good result there. More than anything in the world, we need to get a good result there, because otherwise I am really going to be in danger of not fulfilling my championship expectations. You know, this was the season where I wanted to fight for my first Drivers' World Championship, and we are currently 41 points down on Max Verstappen after the first 6 races. So yeah, it's not looking like we're going to be involved in that fight unless we can really put a string of wins and podiums together. I think it's going to be unlikely. And then in the Constructors' Championship, we also find ourselves down in 6th. Our target, of course, is 3rd, and we're already quite significantly down in that championship as well. So yeah, we're going to need to be starting to have a better season than the one we're currently having. There are definitely circuits that suit our car more than this one, and more than the ones we've driven at so far, suit me as a driver more than the ones we've driven at so far. But nonetheless, I just need to perform at a higher level than I've been performing at the moment, and I think I need Kevin Magnussen to perhaps be performing at a slightly higher level as well. It's been a very tricky start to the season, even with 4 points finishes in the first 6 races, and I think Kevin Magnussen is 6 out of 6. It's still not been enough. We need to have better finishes. So yeah, we're going to have to see what we can do in Monaco, and hopefully we can start to turn a corner. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.